Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Welcome back to another Nicktendo Direct podcast. We got some good topics for y'all tonight. And we also have some good guests, some good people on the panel tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce the man, the myth, Abaddon, back again. How you doing, man?
I'm chilling. How about you, man? How was your weekend, bro?
My weekend was good, man. Labor Day weekend. I get 3 days off, which is a rarity in my working career. I usually work like 6 days a week. So 3 days off, it's great. Family time, all that stuff. And now I'm ready to just get this thing rolling.
Yeah, I just don't know how to stop working. Even though they says I'm off tomorrow, apparently I'm still probably working. But no, I probably will find a way to like work less hours tomorrow because since I'm home, I'm going to find a way just to spend some time with family. We went to Walmart, got some board games. So I'm going to play some board games with my son.
Ooh, okay.
My wife. Yeah, got Connect 4. I'm the Connect 4 champion. No one knows that.
Uh-oh. Connect 4 champion.
Yeah, I'm the Connect 4 champion. And I could probably, knock a few people around in chess, but that's about it.
Chess, man. And you like my cousin. My cousin's in that way. Like, I never play my cousin in chess because I don't stand a chance. For real, don't stand a chance. We got NX in here. Go Mario. What's going on? At the beginning? Long way. Lil Will. Born Distracted was in the house. Ed Norton. My boy Andy at Entertainment Gaming Daily. Yao Ming here. Chips. Ditched. All y'all. Appreciate all y'all for showing up. So the second guest back again for the second time. The homie Switchcraft. What's going on, dude?
Hey, everybody. Thanks again for having me on. You know me, it's just been a nice, relaxing, long weekend. My wife's a teacher, so she's had this last week off. And pardon the background here. You probably won't notice it as it's in none of my videos. I'm actually downstairs in another little library where I can be a little bit more animated when everybody's asleep.
I feel you on that one because you want to be able to let loose.
Oh, you know it.
Oh, man, it's all good. And last but not least, for the first time on the podcast, the man recently just hit 1,000 subs recently. So congratulations on that. Super Nicktendo, what's going on, dude?
Hey, how's it going? Hopefully not the last time that I'll be on this podcast, but it's great to be here. So I'm ready here to talk about games. So
yes, sir.
I had a really good weekend, and I have one more day off, so I'm going to use that to do some videos and stuff like that. So it'll be really pretty good. Yeah,
I'm in the same boat. I'm going to try to do that, use that day to use more videos, but like it's family and kids, and they like to change plans a lot of my time. So we'll see what happens. But we have some decent topics today. Of course, we're going to talk about hashtag PUDDLEGATE. Everybody, was just up in arms over Spider-Man on the PlayStation 4. What happened with that game? Apparently today news broke that we have some Pokemon news incoming. Apparently next week, there will be some more information about what's up in Pokemon's future. So we're going to talk about that, what we like to see. Of course, there's some more controversy out there with Sony talking about crossplay. And apparently, according to an NPD analyst, exclusives drive the gaming market. So there you go. We're going to go ahead and get into this first news, the Pokemon news. Now, like I said, there was not much there in this article. All it said that there is an announcement incoming. So there's not much we can really discuss here. But I do want to talk about this topic. What would you guys like to see, or what do you anticipate seeing next Sunday for this news? Switchcraft, let's just start with you.
Oh, man. Okay, so, I mean, there's a big pile of stuff that I'd love to see. And then maybe a slightly less big pile of stuff that I think we're actually going to see. Realistically, if I had to put my money on it, I say it's going to be probably some more gameplay. Maybe we see what a couple more cities look like. Maybe we'll even get a little bit of what it's going to look like to capture a Pokemon. Like we'll probably see a little bit more of what they mean by their hybrid of Pokemon, how we traditionally know it, and how it's going to look like with the Pokemon Go influences.
Yes. I mean, what I really hope is we might get a little bit of tidbits of the next Pokemon franchise. I doubt it. They'll probably just focus on Let's Go. So yeah, I kind of agree with you. I want to see a little bit more of what they have for Let's Go. What about you, Abaddon? What you got?
I basically see them kind of like what Switchcraft said. I don't see them showing too much more city, but it's going to be more mechanic focused. It's going to be focusing on something that was never before seen. If you're going to take some time to announce it, I feel as though it's something that we've never seen before, and it's going to probably be something big in terms of mechanics, something that could drive more sales, something to try to win over the hardcore gamers. Because coincidentally, this game is more so for the casuals, and it's more so the casual market that's hyped for this game. So they want to focus on trying to win over the hardcore gamers as well. Because quite frankly, a lot of the hardcore gamers like the games like Pokemon Snap. So maybe they're going to have some type of Pokemon Snap mechanic in the game, possibly.
Ooh, I like that.
Or something that is game changing to make it say, you know what, I should probably buy this game.
100%. What about you, Super Nicktendo? What do you got?
Well, personally, I've never played a Pokemon game before, so actually I'm going to be picking up Let's Go as my first Pokemon game. So I know a lot of people have been saying that it's going to be too easy, or it's going to be for babies and everything like that. But like, I think this will be a really good way for people who haven't played Pokemon but have played Pokemon Go and come in and play it and stuff. So I really think that like this Pokemon Direct will probably be a little bit more overview on the game and like how it'll play. And I mean, it seems to me like, you know, like it's okay to not buy a Pokemon game if you think that it's not going to be, you know, something for you. Because I know, isn't it like supposed to be like a rehash of Yellow?
Yeah,
right?
It's
a
remake of Yellow.
So I mean, like if you've already paid Yellow, like I mean, it's okay to skip it. Like I mean, Nintendo will sell a lot of these regardless. So I mean, it's okay to sit this one out.
Right.
I got a question for everybody. If I could just jump in quick, and I just want to judge how bad my addiction is. Everybody out there, are you guys going to get Let's Go Eevee, Let's Go Pikachu, or Let's Go Eevee with the Pokeball? Or let's go Eevee with the Pokeball, or both with the Pokeball.
Oh man, I don't know if I want the Pokeball or not, but I'm definitely gonna go with Let's Go Pikachu. After finding out the news that you can't evolve Eevee from the start, I was like, I'll pass on that. But I don't know about the Pokeball. Chip says Pikachu with the Pokeball. I mean, the Pokeball's cool. How much is it gonna be with the Pokeball?
Yeah, I'm gonna get the one with the Pokeball. So
I can tell you I can see what I'm getting, guys. I'm getting that Let's Go Smash.
This man said,
I'm getting that Let's Go Smash.
It says, I just want a world. I just want a full-on new Pokemon Snap with a world like Breath of the Wild to explore. That would be pretty sick. Gold Mario 79 says, Let's Go has no real battle mechanic except gym leaders. They took the most important element out of the series. I do have to agree with that, but remember, this is just a new game, a new idea that they're doing. They're going to integrate it with Let's Go. So I think they expect a new fan base to come in, I guess. And I think that they want to kind of make it as friendly as they possibly could. So, I mean, like I said, I don't know what we're going to get next Sunday. I just would like to see a little bit more on Let's Go, and hopefully they can sneak us in a little preview of what's to come with the next Pokemon game and all that stuff. But that's yet to remain. That's I can't even speak. That's remain to be seen. So we're gonna move on to the next topic. Let's just go ahead and talk about PUDDLEGATE and get this out of the way, because I mean, so everybody's already seen. We've talked about it all week with the Spiderman PlayStation 4 downgrade, and everybody was. People were just up in arms. Oh my gosh, how dare you show us something and then we don't get what you show us, even though that happened with Watch Dogs a few years ago and everybody was still okay with it and everybody survived Watch Dogs and everything like that. But to any of you guys on the panel, does the downgrade matter to you? What do you think about it? What do you think about the craziness about it? Let's start with you, Abaddon. You muted, bruh.
Rookie.
See,
he said he's been here before.
I muted my mic for a quick second.
What you got?
Let's do this again. Run back, mulligan. All right, so the downgrade absolutely does matter to me, because quite honestly, it would be different if this game was not advertised otherwise. All throughout, since E3 2016, when this game first premiered, this game looked consistently the same until this last E3. This game even looked the same up until Gamescom, which was just last week. And now all of a sudden, there's a downgrade when people get their review copies. And I feel as though, even though, yes, if you have the eye of someone who knows computer games, that's kind of cheesy. That's kind of foul. Like, why would you do that in Insomniac Games? And on top of that, it's not so much the graphical downgrade that bothers me, but it's how Insomniac Games is handling the situation that bothers me. Insomniac Games is saying there is no downgrade, which in their own right, technically they're right, but you're kind of making us feel like we're stupid in a sense to say, hey, we didn't see something that looked so much better, something that had better textures, better shaders all throughout this time. You're basically telling us that there's no difference. Hey, man, it's just a puddle. Like, all of a sudden, they spin the narrative into being it's a puddle situation, and it's not. Anyone who can look at the pictures side by side, you can easily see that the other picture that people have their review copies, it's a washed out photo. The gameplay still may be good. That's fine. But it's the principle of the fact that you are falsely advertising your game. If you felt that confident behind the vision of your game, show us what it really is. Don't sit here and change the game or how the game looks and then spin the narrative to make it seem like people are just complaining about puddles and they don't know what they're talking about. No, that's not the case. And on that principle, when you act like that as a company, that's what makes me push me away to not want to get your game.
Fair enough. Fair enough. That's a lot to say. Me personally, I didn't think it was that big of a deal, and I do understand your sentiments there about how it's kind of false advertising. My stance is, as long as the game is good and the game is fun, I don't think it should matter that much, but I do understand that sentiment of it. Super Nicktendo, let's roll with you. What do you think about this whole situation?
Well, I mean, I think, definitely it's kind of a disappointment that the game doesn't look as nice as it did in the trailers and everything. But, as a person who's, grown to, remembers that they used PCs to power PlayStation 3 footage and the Ubisoft with Watch Dogs and all this other stuff. Like, I take all the trailers with a grain of salt, and I've been really good at managing my expectations. And as a guy who grew up with Nintendo and Atari and television and stuff like that, like, it's graphics are like a secondary. Like, graphics definitely play a huge part in the game, but I mean, I've never been like a person who pushes so hard to like put extra shaders and stuff like that in my Skyrim mods or anything like that to make it ultra realistic. So I mean, I'll definitely still pick it up probably when it goes on sale, but I mean, I think it'll be just fine.
All right. What about you, Switchcraft? What you got?
Yeah, you know what? It's funny because when this thing first popped onto the scene, and I think it was, I think I first heard about it from Spawnwave. That's where I get all my information pretty much. I was sitting in my little, Nintendo safe space where I took them at face value. I was like, oh, okay, maybe they did just move it around a little bit, and it didn't really matter. But then you look at some of the pictures, like the side-by-sides, and oof, like you just...
Well, that's because you're pausing it and stuff, and like I think that's kind of the issue. Is like, well, this game probably will look a little bit better when you actually see it in motion and stuff.
Yeah,
and I
no
think,
doubt.
Like, people, like in the VR space and everything, like, I have a VR headset, and people are like, well, it's the screen door effect. If you stop and you pay attention to the screen door, it's like it's there and stuff. And it's like, well, when you're actually playing the game, it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah. And I mean, at the end of the day, like, is it really gonna, make some huge effect like the microtransactions did for anything that EA came up with? Is it really going to manifest into any less sold copies? I'll tell you what, I have an even bigger gripe about is, we have day 0 or day -7, and we have like 3 rounds of DLC already announced. I'm going to be more curious. I'm going to be less curious about what the game looks like when it actually comes out, and more curious to find out at you know, in September, October, November, December, was this actual DLC or was it just cut content? That's what I'm actually more, you know, interested in finding out.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I just think I was on a podcast last night, and my boy PTK Blam, and they were talking about this, and when the guy said, well, if it's somebody like, there was a guy in here who says, well, I have a PC and I have Xbox One X, so things like that do matter to me, like as far as all the performance, it's a big deal. I don't like, and I agree with Nicktendo as well. Like, I don't think it's a huge deal, especially when you're playing the game. Are you gonna notice those puddles missing and all that stuff when you're playing? Like, you're just gonna be swinging through the air. Like, you're just gonna be swinging through the air, being Spider-Man and doing Spider-Man stuff. You're not even gonna look at puddles. So I don't think it's clearly that big of a deal. But I do understand the sentiment from people who do like that experience, who do want all the performance and all the power. I do understand that. But just when you're playing the game, you're not gonna just stop and stand there and look at that puddle and say, "Oh my gosh, look at this puddle." No, you're gonna be Spider-Man. You know what I mean?
It'll matter about like frame rate and everything.
But then I will have to say this though. It's, again, it pulls away from, again, I think we're focusing only on the puddle. I'm looking at them as a company and how they're handling the situation, and it's more so they're being crummy about it. Because I don't know if you guys noticed, Kofi, Press Start Kofi, he had his channel. He had a strike against his channel just for having the menu screen on, like, on in the back.
Sony is really aggressive with that NDA, so it's
But here's the thing: everybody else did it, but everybody else did it. He's the one who got hit because he put out some of the photos. So they singled him out, kind of.
Right. Dang.
So I'm kind of like, you guys are. It's not really even Sony. It's Insomniac Games who's kind of being like, you know, kind of funny about it. So because you downgraded the look of your game, and the game is only like 15 to 20 hours, and let's not forget the other side of the controversy, you are going to wait a month later to put out a story mode DLC. I'm like, I should wait for this then. Why wait? Why buy the game right away?
Yeah, the game a year of edition.
Exactly. Why buy the game right away when it's going to be some DLC just a month later that's essential to the story, and the game by itself is only 20 hours worth of story time. If you want some fair comparison, the DLC to Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is 30 hours.
Yeah. The DLC. Yeah, the DLC. That's a whole nother game in a DLC.
Yeah.
So I mean, people say there's different genres, but I'm saying, like, if you want, to me, a video game is as good as the hours you get from it, in a sense. And it's an adventure game. Whether you want to acknowledge it or not, it's an adventure game. It doesn't have to be a RPG like Xenoblade Chronicles. It's an adventure game. So it matches up with the Arkham games, and even matches up with the Zelda Breath of the Wild games. It's an open world adventure game. Mm-hmm. And those games give you a much bang for your buck right now. That game doesn't. That game is charging $60 for a game that doesn't even give you a bang for your buck right now. And I'm not going to waste my money on it right now.
I mean,
I'd rather buy Monster Hunter.
Well, that's true. I agree. I don't know about that. But I do agree with you on that sentiment that, might as well wait for the game. There is so many games coming out that you really do have to pick, like, what you want, unless you just have goo gobs of money to spend on games, and some people do. But me, I don't. I have kids, a wife, exactly. I got bills. So we got to be smart. And so I mean, I don't blame you for saying let's just wait for the Game of the Year edition or whatever to come out later. That way I can get all that DLC, because I honestly...
Can I show you guys something? Wait, hold on 1 second.
All right. Man, just let this cold turkey.
Now you made him angry.
I know.
No, I'm gonna prove a point. I waited a year to get this game.
Yeah, I got that. Yeah, that was a good deal.
$20 for this.
Yo.
I waited a year to get this, and it's $20.
Game of the Year.
That's almost as good of a deal as No Man's Sky a year later.
So
almost. Well, never mind.
Yes, you did, Stitch. Yes, you did hear a quote. I was playing with money in my hand as I was talking, but
here comes the money.
$20. Shane McMahon, I like that. $20 for Horizon Zero Dawn, the complete edition with the DLC included. So,
right. What are you gonna do with it? You gonna get it right away? Or are you just gonna wait? I mean, it's a smart decision, especially like I mentioned with all these games coming out, with the Fallouts, with the Smash, definitely Smash, with Let's Go. What's all coming out in October? Just all the games, the Call of Duties, all those games that are coming out in October. Like, yo, it's going to be rough, and Spider-Man is probably gonna get lost in the mix here this month as well. But I don't know. I'm probably not gonna get it either.
I mean, it'll still sell a lot regardless of what this graphical.
Oh, I mean, it's gonna sell a lot.
You know, like it doesn't have any microtransactions, which like most people will forgive any type of DLC and stuff like that when it comes out. So I mean, it'll probably be a really good game. And then I'll most likely pick it up next year when they do that thing for like $20, something like that. Because
when we get this YouTube money, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, like, hey, you know,
right.
If that's the case, like, you know, I've made $3 so far, so I'm like rolling in the dough here. So
hey, that's better than the 2 cents that Nintendo gave me. And oh man, that's funny. So either way, I don't know how y'all feel about it out there in the chat. What do you feel about the Spider-Man downgrade? Let me know if it's important. We're gonna move on to the next topic. What do y'all want to talk about? The Switch firmware, Sony on crossplay, or the exclusive topic? Which one do y'all want to go with?
Let's not talk to Sony on crossplay. I feel like I'll be triggered, so I don't want to talk.
Well, all right,
let's save that one till last.
We'll save that one so you can get triggered. So apparently there was a 6.0 update data mine. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot there. It looks like there's not a whole lot in the update. Let's see here. Nintendo Switch Online subscription support with a slogan: more games, more features, and more fun. Save data cloud backup. And then if you want some new icons, you get some Captain Toad icons for Toad, Toadette, Wingo, and Dragonon. And then new controller icons, which I found this one interesting, for Famicom, NES, Super NES, and Super Famicom were found in here. I find the icons interesting, as well as it looks like what has been advertised for the NSO. Looks like that's what we're gonna get so far. It looks like it's gonna be kind of bare bones when it comes out. What do you guys think about this data mine? Like especially the icons. Let's start with you, Switchcraft. The icons with the Famicom, with the controller icons. Like, what do you think about this data mine update?
Well, I mean, if you look at the actual photos, they don't necessarily look like a SNES or a Famicom controller. They more closely resemble like the 8-bit classic controllers, where you can you have those retro controllers that kind of look like it, but they aren't really super Famicom or SNES controllers. And I think it was actually Spawnwave that broke that down, that I picked that up on it. Going back and looking at it, I think, I mean, realistically, do I think that we're going to have SNES one day on this thing? Yeah. Is it probably going to be at launch? No. I think it also, this whole kind of explains why we haven't had a specific direct yet for this online service. There's not really much to talk about. I think what's going to happen realistically is, just one overnight at midnight, we're just going to see an updated website, and then, give me your $20 for the year and, figure it out.
100. Oh man. I just got a alert here. Gold Mario 79. Thank you for the sub, bro. Appreciate it, man. Good looking out. Thank you for that sub
to the channel.
Yes, sir. And if you are just now joining us, go ahead and hit that like button. Let's get this to 20 likes, all that good stuff. So, Super Nicktendo, what do you think about this this firmware data mine update?
Well, I think it'll probably be a whole lot of nothing when it comes out. I mean, I think that's kind of been the deal, right? A lot of people have been hyping about the Switch and stuff, and this specific year has been kind of a letdown in terms of like hype versus actual delivery. So I think hopefully, like ideally, like if they release those little controllers and everything like that, it'd be really nice to have like an official Nintendo controller that is wireless, that works with the Switch and everything like that. That would be really ideal. Like, I'd definitely go and pay whatever, $30, 45 for a wireless Nintendo controller or Super Nintendo, N64, etc. and go from there. But I'm not really holding my breath. I think they usually do add in like firmware stuff, assets, 2 to 3 versions beforehand and stuff, so I wouldn't hold my breath too much with this Nintendo Online. It's been pretty sparse, so I'll be really surprised that they just let the whole cat out of the bag in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I do agree with that. With the whole, it's probably going to be sparse. But you said something that I was thinking about. How cool would it be if they just had these new controllers come out just for the heck of it? Like, how well do you think those would do if they're just like, okay, here's some USB Nintendo controllers for the Switch Classic, NES, Classic Super NES controller, whichever. Here you go, USB plugs into the Switch to the dock. Like, how well do you think those would do? I think they would do really well.
Yeah, they'd be like really hard to find. Like, I would think,
right?
They definitely would be. Like,
right.
If they marketed it with the Nintendo ROMs and everything like that, and so you can play Nintendo games with your official Nintendo wireless controller pad. Like, I mean, those would be the ones that you'd have to pre-order quick because it's going to be really hard to find.
Chip says, I'd buy them, especially since we're getting 20 retro games from the jump. 100% Abaddon. What you got?
Maybe the data mine. I said this on my podcast as well. I feel as though there's going to be something like in the deep in the cut with this update that's not going to be mentioned in the notes. For instance, if you guys remember when the video share was updated, that's when it also updated the what's that thing called again? The USB headphones update. That was in the same update, but it wasn't broadcasted like the video share. In fact, you had to go deep into the notes to learn that that was one of the updates. So I feel as though there's going to be some type of update that's going to be essential to the online program or the online service that they're still trying to test their feet around, because I'm noticing Nintendo is really focusing a lot on the, let's just say, the pseudo virtual console library, the virtual console Netflix section. If you look on Twitter, every week you see a new update about that. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Nintendo's going to say about it. Here we are in September. We haven't heard anything. We haven't heard any updates, and it's becoming concerning for a lot of people because it's like, when are we going to hear something? When are you guys going to talk about something? You're saying it's going to come out the second week of September, yet and still they don't know what to put their money to.
Yes, so, I agree 100%. I've been waiting to hear if there's going to be more, and it seems like there's probably not going to be, which is, I don't think that's concerning that much, but it disappoints me at least that pretty much what we see on the website is boom. That's what we're gonna get, at least until
it's gonna increase over time. And I tell people, I said, if you look at it, okay, here's the thing. You got to look at this from a long run standpoint. And Nintendo's taking a risky move doing that, but Nintendo, they're the kings of risky moves. If you know Nintendo, if you look at this just off the premise of all you're getting is these 20 games and more games down the line, then yeah, I get your point. It's not all that great. But if you look at this as a possibility that Nintendo is going to release newer games every week or bi-weekly, they're going to release newer games for the NES, and then it's going to spill over to the Super NES, then spill over to the N64, then spill over into the GameCube, and spill over to the Wii.
Yep.
If they do that in the course of about 2 or 3 years, this could be a problem, a big problem
a huge
for
problem.
Competitors. Because for $20 a year, you have access to basically Nintendo's entire library, retro library at that.
If they did that,
because here's the thing, I want to give you guys a little caveat. If you consider the GameCube retro, so is the Wii. It's the same exact graphics, just on a larger CD.
It's not quite yet. I mean, like, yeah, definitely I would consider the GameCube retro. But right, I mean, like, the Wii is like, in graphics wise, yeah, like you can consider it retro, but like in the whole like 20 years, 15 years, or wherever how you Just, you know,
if you go by the,
I just don't want to be considered old. Like that's
right. Because he said GameCube. He said GameCube retro. I'm like, bro, whoa. That was when I was 14, 15 years old, man. Like,
yo, if you can give me GameCube and Wii on my Switch, you 100%. Can call me whatever you want.
Yeah, I'm telling you, bro.
I mean, but that's gonna be a really good thing. Yeah. Once we see a huge library, that would be amazing.
And I think that's the long run. Initially, I'll say Nintendo's gonna get a lot of flack these upcoming, you know, the first few months of it. But in time, people are going to start coming over when they start seeing those Super NES, those N64, shoot, even Game Boy Advance games, when they see those games on the Switch, that they can play these games anywhere anywhere I go, I can play these games. I'm just going to do something right now to you guys. Imagine playing Pokemon Red on the go, and you can play with your friends online.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
Stop teasing me, Abaddon.
Look, man, if all I say is if we're not gonna get an Aldefino DLC for Super Mario Odyssey, then just bring Super Mario Sunshine to the Switch. That's all I ask. That's what I want. That's what I want, man. I would love to see that happen, man. As long and even Twilight Princess, Wind Waker. Oh my gosh, man.
Because hopefully, hopefully the silence just means that they're really working to make all this right instead of just trickling down titles.
To validate this, the reason why I feel that's my theory, and I'm standing behind that theory, Nintendo still has not said anything about Virtual Console. So I'm looking at, they're trying to knock out two birds with one stone. We're going to give you a more premium version of Virtual Console than anything else.
Yeah, that's something that I'll have to see when I believe it here, though.
Stitch is right. No, Stitch is right. Stitch is absolutely right, because we're getting the Genesis games with Sega Ages. Stitch is absolutely right, and the developer of that, I did a video about this. They said they want to continue this series down the line, so that does include Saturn and Dreamcast. So if we get Saturn and Dreamcast games on the Switch, listen. When Phantasy Star Online 1 Remaster comes out for the Switch,
oh my gosh,
dude. My life. I'm going. Like, see ya. Bye-bye, YouTube. Nice knowing you. Won't know me ever again.
I see you, Stitch, with that Howard Dean reference, though. We're going to the NES, and then we're going to Genesis, and then we're doing the N64, and then we're doing the GameCube, and then we're going to Dreamcast. Yeah! I see you, bro.
It would be amazing if we're gonna need those analog triggers, gentlemen.
That Dave Chappelle special was so hilarious.
Oh man, dude, I see you. But that would be sick, man. I mean,
I'm to blame for that because me and Stitch were talking about Dave Chappelle the last night in my stream. I'm to blame for that.
Man, like there is so much potential with the NSO, and as me as a fan, I just want it to be great. I don't want them to just put this out and then that's it, and we're just paying an extra $3 to play Smash Online. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want it to be that. I want it to be an actual service, something worth spending your $20 or $3 a month or whatever you spend on it, something worth, you know, purchasing. And I hope that happens. And I know the NES games are just a start, but please bring the Super NES and the 64s, all of that.
Definitely.
Bring your library. That's what I want 100%. At least me.
You know, to give you some clarity on that, Nick, you know, originally that was the library. Originally, when the Switch first came out, it was the NES and Super NES. I could still go back and find articles to where that was said. So if Nintendo goes back on their word with that, they basically shot their own best console of all time in the foot right now.
Right. Man, I mean,
yeah, I really think it's a matter of, like, I think they really don't want to dilute, you know, like how many games are in the library and stuff like that. I really think that if they release like maybe like 10 games or something, like 5 to 10 games a week or a month or something like that, I think that would be much better.
Oh, no.
So that way, by the next year, they'll have like, you know, 100 games or something.
There you go. So you're thinking, when you think long term like that, it's not a bad idea. It's actually a more profitable business idea because it introduces people to games that they probably missed.
Yo, it doesn't have to be the whole library at once. Like it doesn't have to be. You can give me 5 NES games for a month, five Super NES games for a month, 5 N64 games for a month, GameCube games for a month, whatever you got to do. Put it up there for a month. Let me play it. Take it down, and that would also give more value because people will feel like, okay, they're gonna take this down. I gotta play this. Let me get the online service so I can play these games. And
That's
then
a double-edged sword.
And then you take it out.
Yeah.
Well, it's a double-edged sword, but I mean, you could even do that, and I would be satisfied with it.
Do we know for sure how it's going to work exactly? Like, is it going to be this library is just going to keep growing, or are there going to be games that cycle on and off?
We don't know yet.
I think they changed it to it's going to be a one that keeps growing. I think from the last meeting they had, because originally it was going to be that they take it down, but I think from the very last meeting they ever had about it, it was going to be a library that keeps on growing. They give access to it as long as you pay your subscription each year or each month.
Yeah, that's probably it. It's most likely. I mean, if they're smart, they'll leave a whole huge library up, so that way, like, you know, 2 years down the road or something like that, when they release like an upgraded Switch to a new audience or something like that, they can boast about like 1,000 game library or something like that to choose from.
Bacon Bacon says, I want to play Star Fox 64 in the toilet. Make it happen.
Make it happen, Cam. Make it happen, Cam.
You already can with the 3DS version. It's not as good though.
Not as good. Hey, I played Star Fox 64 the other day, man, and it was not easy.
No,
that was not
like
easy.
I went back to it and I'm like, man, this game is tough. Like I used to be able to beat it, and now it's like the N64 controllers. That's what it is. The controllers do not age well.
No, it was.
It's like they're still making games trying to get quarters.
Yeah, right. I like last week, because we didn't do the podcast last week. My buddy brought, as you guys can see back here, real quick, just this old school tube TV and his N64, and so we were just playing.
I saw that
crazy old school. Just playing GoldenEye, Star Fox, Mario. We were playing it all, dude, and yeah, it was rough. It was really rough trying to go back, and then even playing on that TV. Like, I was like, I can't see anything. How are you guys seeing this? I can't even. How did we survive back then?
See, yeah, I got a Trinitron on my desk and everything, so I definitely, that's the best CRT TV that you could possibly have for retro games. So it's a great system to have.
It's rough, man. I don't know how we did it. What were these TVs in back? Like, what do you think they were in? Like, or 240?
Well, mine was like 480i or something like that, because it's got the component outputs and everything like that. So it's the best TV that you can possibly get. I only paid $10 for it.
King James in the house. What's going on, my dude? Welcome to the podcast. Thank you for stopping by, bro. And as always, like I said, everybody, if you're just now joining us, hit that like button, get to 20, and then we'll go to 25. You know the goals. Anyway, so we're going to move on to the next topic. We're going to go ahead and not do the one that Abaddon wants. We're going to save that for later. But, so according to an NPD analyst, exclusives are what is driving the difference between console performances right now. So, of course, we have Nintendo and PlayStation who have the majority of the exclusives. Nintendo has their Marios, their Zeldas, their Kirby's, their Yoshi's, you know, all of them. And then PlayStation has their Horizon Zero Dawns, the Spider-Mans, all that good stuff, God of Wars. And so they're saying right now that you can tell the trend, you know, with the exclusives. This is what is pushing the console market and the hardware market. This is what you equate the performance to, which brings me to this question, you guys. And I talked about this, like I said, I talked about it once again last night on PTK Blam's podcast. What to you guys matters? I mean, Abaddon, I know you got a monster PC, but you also have the Switch and you also have the PS4, so you have the best of all worlds. Like, what do you guys feel about this article and the fact that though we're getting power all the time and we're getting that narrative, oh, it's all about power, and we hear people crying about the Spider-Man downgrade, but then again, here it's proven right here, it doesn't really matter what it is. It's just the exclusives, your experience, that's what drives the market. So let's start with you, Switchcraft. Like, what do you think about this news, and does what matters to you?
Well, okay, so it makes sense that, you know, that would be one of the factors, but I don't think by a long shot that's the only factor. I mean, you look at, like, I just did a little list here, and you have the best-selling games on the Switch so far. You got Splatoon 2, Super Mario Odyssey, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Breath of the Wild, 1-2 Switch, ARMS, Pokken Tournament, Xenoblade Chronicles, Kirby Star Allies, and Mario and Rabbids. Now, if you look at that list, look at the Wii U. You had a Splatoon, you had Mario Kart 8, you had Breath of the Wild, you had Pokken Tournament, and you had Xenoblade. So I think that this speaks more to the console done right. In this specific case for Nintendo, you had the advertising done right, you had the console done right, and you had the portability factor. right? And you got a bunch of people who were Nintendo fans just dying to spend their money on something. And then we're just so happy to see this thing done right, that I think that in this specific case with Nintendo, that's what's driving this.
Yeah, I mean, like, I agree to an extent. I mean, it's just a matter of like how many consoles and everything like that. Like, I think, like, because the same thing with Abaddon. Like, I have a really killer PC. I like, in terms of like, if there's a multi-platform game, like, I'm gonna buy it on PC. I'm not gonna buy it on like the Switch or everything like that. But like, yeah, exclusives definitely are like something that I think is something that you pay attention to. Like, if you go back all the way to the first or second generation of consoles with the Atari 2600, the ColecoVision, and the Intellivision, all those systems, like, they rarely had like exclusives, and like some of them even had like adapters to play their other games and stuff. And like it kind of like, there's really no reason to buy another console without exclusives. So I mean, and like, even with the Xbox One X being like so powerful and the console and everything, like, it doesn't really make a difference if you don't have like all of these other games that you want to play on it. I mean, Sony has gotten such a big head start with having those exclusives in the first place that most people don't want to buy an Xbox One X just because like they can play Red Dead Redemption the best on Xbox One X.
True.
Evan,
what you got?
I was gonna say, I see both sides. I see Michael Patrick's point, but I also see Matt's Picala's point, mainly because I can see where Patrick's coming from. If you look at the Wii U had tons of exclusives. In fact, the Wii U sales at one point were demolishing. Their software titles were demolishing the software titles of both the PS4 and the Xbox One in terms of games, exclusive games. Multi-plat games were selling really good, but in terms of exclusive games, I think the only other game that was able to challenge a Wii U game was Uncharted. And I want people to let that sink in. Mario Kart 8, not Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Mario Kart 8 sold over 8 million copies on the Wii U alone. It sold more than, like, the attach rates on the Wii U were pretty good, and the Nintendo Switch has been following in that same notion. However, the Wii U had very poor third-party support. So I'm not going to sit here and say like third-party port has minimum value. I think you need a good medium of both to make it a successful console. That's what made the Super NES a great console, and that's what's making the Switch a great console right now. Because literally since the Super NES, Nintendo has not had the best third-party support. The N64, yeah, we had a lot of great sports games, but we lacked in RPGs. Then when we tried to make up the RPGs on the GameCube, we lacked in power. Then we tried to, innovate and go motion controls with the Wii. Yeah, we were a financial success, but it was only a financial success. It wasn't for gamers. So bring us to the Wii U, bring us to the Switch. If you really go back into Nintendo's timeline, it wasn't since the Super NES that Nintendo had a healthy build of both third-party and first-party games. And I think that's why the Switch is so successful right now. And I think that's why the Switch is going to keep on being successful. And within the year, I'll say by this time next year, it would probably have outsold more sales than the Xbox One.
Yeah, I definitely think that's the case. I think third parties definitely help fill that lull, and like that's kind of the reason why the Wii U didn't do as good as it should have been. One, it was because no one really knew what the Wii U was supposed to be, and like for personally speaking, I didn't buy mine until Wind Waker 3D HD came out, and then like the next year, that's when Mario Kart 8 came out. So, I mean, it's definitely like the lull in first party exclusives and third party exclusives being like nowhere there, definitely caused an issue. And now we're kind of like almost having too many games with the Nintendo Switch, so like
How can you have too many games?
I don't know. Like it's just like, you know, like I think especially with the indies, I think a lot of people are focusing too much on these indies, thinking that like that's really what's gonna like you know, dilute the system. But I really don't think that's the particular case. I mean, you know, you got Smash coming out in, you know, 3 months now.
Yeah.
So like that's definitely that's gonna put all the people like just, you know, with their back teeth watering and everything like that. Like you know, it's gonna put all those like naysayers to bed once that comes out.
I think the biggest issue that people forget. My phone, Nick. You want to jump in?
No, go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
No, my whole thing is I feel as though people have too many knee-jerk reactions with the Indies Direct, and I feel this whole too many games thing is the same narrative as last year when people said the Switch only has 2 games. A few months later, we get Doom, Skyrim, and I'm like,
the Switch only has ports.
Yeah, that was the big narrative last year.
We hear all these narratives, yet it sold 17 million copies in its first fiscal year. And now when it comes down to the Nintendo Switch coming out with more games and too many indie games, not enough real games, I feel within this month or next month, we're getting a new Nintendo Direct, and it's going to be a whole bunch of larger third-party games announcing for the Switch that are going to come out this year, and then all of a sudden, oh my God, the Switch is the best thing ever! And
but you know what? One thing that you got to keep in mind, and why you shouldn't pay these people too much attention, is because it's the exact same people complaining that there weren't enough games that are now complaining that there's too many games. They just want to complain.
Yeah, I mean
that's the irony of it. That's the irony. It's like there's not enough games. Man, it's too many games. I'm like.
But let me play devil's advocate. If when you go to the Nintendo eShop, it does sure feel like there's too many games because it's not in order.
That's a separate issue.
I know, a million jokes, but
that eShop needs to be overhauled.
Hey, 100%.
Yeah, it definitely needs.
Can I say something though with that? While I agree it can be overhauled, for a mobile device, all you got to do is go down to search. If you know what game, you're looking for. Go search, type two letters, search.
Abaddon, that's too much work, bro. That's too much work. I want it in order. Indie games right here, exclusive features right here. I'll just put it in order. Now I'm playing, bro. You're right. That's how I do it. I just like, look, I know the game I want. Search, type it in. There's the game. Purchase it. That's how I do it.
It's as simple as that. Sometimes search doesn't work. No. Then the game is not out yet. The game is not out yet. This search does work. Has not failed me. Search always works. The game is most likely not out yet.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I think like with the indies and stuff, they should have like gone the PlayStation approach and like, you know, curated a lot more, you know, exclusives and everything like that of indie creators instead of like, you know, now letting everybody who, you know, who wants to, you know, come in and join and stuff like that. I mean, like, really indie games are fun, but at the same time, like, I get where people are coming from with the indies. Like, you know, it has a very high chance of being abused and like just, you know, really ruining the entire platform as far as indie games go.
Yeah, just check out Steam.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's exactly what Steam has become. Like, it's just going to be like, you know, we're really close to having like asset flips for like $10 or something like that. I mean, does the Switch shop have like a good refund policy? I don't know.
I don't think it does.
Yeah, so I mean, that's
overhaul
for abuse
would be nice. But what I will say this, that's why I want to make sure I did say that overhaul would be nice. But for right now, I don't want to act like there's no solutions that could be a quick fix to the problem. Especially for these recent games, if you know what game you want, it's like I just hit the search button, which is at the top of the screen anyway. So you go there, it's like the first thing you can choose, like hit search, type in a keyword, and it goes. Now, Chips and Sticks says sometimes the search doesn't work. I've never had a problem with that. I never heard anyone else having a problem with this. If that's a legitimate issue, then Chips, then I would understand. And yes, then that is a bigger issue that needs to be addressed by Nintendo. If that is a legitimate issue that you've been having, let's say the game's been out for like 2 or 3 months, and you type in, let's just say, for the sake of an argument, Puyo Puyo Tetris, and it's not coming out, then yes, you have a point, Chips. There's a problem with Nintendo at that point, and Nintendo needs to address that right away.
100%. So there you go. we got on that topic about exclusive things. But I mean, but as far as it goes for Nintendo, I mean, how do you feel about it for PlayStation as well? I mean, he's got a point here, but because you know Xbox only seems to have only Halo or Gears of War or Sea of Thieves. I'm
about to get triggered for this because again, and it's nothing against you. It's nothing against you, Super Nintendo. Nothing against you. But I'm tired of the narrative of everyone comparing to say Nintendo needs to do what Sony is doing when Sony has done nothing but steal what Nintendo does for their entire life cycle. All they have done and stolen Nintendo's ideas. So I don't want to hear what Nintendo should do, what Sony's doing. Nintendo should come out with a Nintendo Switch Pro. Oh, we got a PlayStation 4 Pro. Nintendo should come out with a Nintendo Switch Pro that has better graphics. No, Nintendo could do their own thing. I'm not directing this at you, Super.
Well, absolutely not. I'm just saying, you know, like there are some really good ideas out there and everything like that. And it's specifically speaking with like the independence and everything like that. You know, I know that, you know, like with the Sony PlayStation Move and, you know, definitely with the relationship between Nintendo and Sony before the CDI and everything that comes out, you know, like, and that's kind of like, it goes back like 20 years, like the whole Nintendo versus Sony and stuff like that. There's some really bad blood out there and everything like that. You know that they're going to be at each other's throats.
It's sad. DualShock is a copy. Before DualShock, Nintendo had no analog sticks and it had no rumble control. When Star Fox comes out, guess what? We got analog sticks and rumble.
See, like, and the thing is, like, the Saturn actually beat Nintendo 64 out with that analog controller stick. So
there you go.
I mean, but you know, it was kind of just like too little, too late for the Sega Saturn. But I mean, that analog stick came out just
and
maybe like a month or two before the Nintendo 64.
Sega was, well, if it was a month before, one could argue it was in production.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's kind of just like, oh, I'm not saying that like Sega got it first, but you know, like technically
they were the market first, but you could tell they were probably on, because Sega and Nintendo, they thought on the same wavelength. So that's why I always respected Sega, and I still respect Sega to this day. But I don't agree with all their decisions. I'll make that clear, but I still respect them as a company. When it comes to Sony, it's hard for me to give them full respect. Like, I get them because my friends have their systems, and you know, part of my childhood is dipped into those old RPGs. I'm a big RPG lover, so you know, the Final Fantasy games from 7 to 9. You know, if you go to the PS2, the Xeno Saga games, playing even the God of War games back then. All those games were great to me. So I will give Sony credit where credit is due. But I just feel as though let's just keep it 100. Sony has been leeching off Nintendo's success for most of its entire cycle. I mean, if I could get an example, I can't get an example. How different is this from the PlayStation 1 controller? Not much.
Well, you don't fix what isn't broke. I mean that's kind of the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you could have had the boomerang that came out when the PlayStation 3 came out.
That would have been funny. That would have been funny. But yeah, I get your point though.
All right. Well, while we have Abaddon triggered, let's just move on to the next topic. While he's triggered, so
you get him all riled up. That's a good intro. That's a good segue right there.
So if y'all don't know, and homie Ed, you're out there. I got you. Chips, you guys are out there. I know y'all are the Sony guy. Me and Ed have had little headbutts in Discord about Sony in this topic. So apparently, this weekend, who was it? The chief executive of Sony was speaking at a show in Berlin, and he had the topic of crossplay came up, and he had a quote saying, on cross-platform, our way of thinking is always that PlayStation is the best place to play. Fortnite, I believe, partner with PlayStation 4 is the best experience for users. That's our belief. That is his quote. So pretty much saying that we don't have crossplay because we have the best experience for this. So, Abaddon, while I got you triggered, and I want to get you triggered more, because I know you we talked about this a little bit last night, and you about went off, and you was like, nah, bro, I gotta go to bed. So, I know you got stuff to say, so go ahead and say it, bro.
So, guys, do you guys want to know the best experience for Fortnite? Let's take a good look.
Woo!
There you go.
Let's take a good look right there. Let's take a real good look. That is the best experience for Fortnite. And you know what? I want to call them out on their vote right here. I want to call them out right here on where they know they are tripping. They know that they are lying out their mouth. When they said it's the best experience, that's why we're not doing crossplay. Look what they're doing crossplay with. I'll give you a hint. I'll give you a hint. Do you think it's ironic? So let me ask you a question. Do you think if the PS4 had better graphics than the PC and it could run better than the PC, do you think there'll be crossplay? I don't think so. They know it's not the best experience. So
it's the best experience on the consoles, and I think that's what they mean. Like, you know, obviously nothing comes close to PC.
That's not what they said. That's not what they said. I'm Judge Avedon right now. That's not what you said. That is not what they said. Oh, they said the best experience. They said the best experience, period. That's what they said. And
they meant for them.
Where you say that, I'm like, okay, so more people, and again, you want to prove it wrong, more people got into Fortnite because of the Switch.
100%.
How many users
100%
got Fortnite because of the Switch?
Let them know.
How many people at one time, not in the course of a time, but in one time got Fortnite because of the Switch?
100%.
Think about that. So the data goes against what you're saying, Sony. Like, in fact, I got Fortnite on my Sony PlayStation, played it once, never picked up again. I played my Fortnite more times on this and my computer than I ever did on my PlayStation. I got a homie out there say, hey man, I got it on PS4, let me know when to play. I'm like, okay, I'll get around to it. No, I don't. So no, Sony, don't sit here and use that sad of excuse as to why you don't crossplay, because you sound extremely arrogant right now. Being real and just to critique you as a business right now, you sound foolish. You sound like the Super Nintendo did back down during its time, because with that same arrogance, I promise you, you won this generation. Let's be clear. You won the PS4 generation next to Switch and Xbox One. Congratulations, you won. Next generation, I promise you it won't be as easy for you, because right now you're being very anti-consumer. Some of the same problems people have with Nintendo, and now because of that, you're shooting yourself in the foot. And when you do that, best believe you're gonna have a hard time selling those PS5s.
Yeah.
Woo. Anybody else want to follow that?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think, you know, I mean, he's right. Like, I mean, I personally, I don't really care that Sony doesn't want to play, you know, cross-platform and stuff like that. Let them keep their own. You know, if they only want to do cross-play with PC and not Xbox and Nintendo Switch, you know, fine, let them. Like, I mean, Xbox has, like, a very good, you know, they saw an advantage and stuff, and like, so they're gonna go with crossplay with Nintendo.
That's a beautiful business strategy.
You know, that's something, you know, that's the same thing when like Xbox came out with those crazy DRMs and everything.
Yes, you like, read my mind. I was about to say thank you.
So yeah, I mean, like, it's definitely, it boils down to business. So, you know, I really don't care that Sony wants to lock it down. I mean, I have a PC. You know, so if I want to play cross-platform with people and stuff, like, I can play on my PC.
Exactly.
We just played Star Trek Bridge Crew, you know, a couple of days and stuff like that with my friends and stuff. You know, one was on the PlayStation 4 with his PSVR, and then, you know, I was in VR on PC, and so was my other friend, and we had a really good time. So, I mean, yeah, I'm perfectly comfortable with, you know, Sony just, you know, if they want to make that decision, you know, that's more power to them. You know, if they really think that their solution is that, I mean, we'll probably see multi-console cross-play on the PlayStation 5 if this persists.
And that's my whole point now, because when the PlayStation 5 comes out and they say, hey, let's do some cross-play, they probably burned the bridge already.
Yeah, I mean,
they probably burned the bridge already, and that's what my compassion for this is. I'm worried for Sony as a brand, because now Sony is going to really have to work uphill to sell their new console. Because now, with the new studios, I'm looking at this from, like I said, I joked earlier, I played a lot of chess here and there. So I'll check that in a sec. but I played a lot of chess here and there. So I'm looking at this as chess moves. And with Xbox getting their new studios, with Xbox making it so they're with Nintendo on different issues, that is actually securing Xbox's spot for the next generation. That secured their spot right now. No one's going to just cut Xbox off because, hey, I have friends who have Xbox. So if my friends who have Xbox, they want to play Fortnite or Paladins on their Xbox, I can like, yo, I'll play this on my Switch. And it'll be a fun game playing, you know, with my friends on the same console. Especially, let's say if I'm away for a weekend, right? Let's say I'm away. Guess what? This thing has Wi-Fi. I could bring this along with me wherever I go. And I can still play my friends mobile. I can hug this 50-pound rig wherever I want to go. I can't do that. So when I look at what Sony is doing, it is so anti-consumer. It does not take in consideration what this consumer wants. The consumer, like, there are so many fans of PlayStation who are upset right now that they cannot share the same experience with their other friends because Sony doesn't want to open up that gate. There are people who are upset about with Rocket League, and Sony's like, we do offer crossplay. People on PC, and like Sony's like, no. People are like, no. Like, rules of engagement, rules of business 101. Give your consumers what they want.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. It's like now Sony players and stuff like that know how I feel when I picked the Xbox One first, and all my other friends had PlayStation 4. So they definitely, like, you know, definitely feel left out here. So
wait, hold up. Chips, there's no contest. There's no contest when it comes to PC and PS4. Let's not even go in that argument. There is no contest.
Yeah,
like literally,
PC is definitely the top bar none.
Play that game and see how people play that game online. There is absolutely no contest. That's why Sony's partnered with them. There is absolutely no contest. Trust me.
Crazy thing is that, like, it's not like Sony is making these mistakes for the first time, right? Like, this is very, very reminiscent of what happened when the PS2 was at the peak of how popular it was, and then they come out with this PS3 that priced that they really shouldn't have built the way they did. Didn't have reverse compatibility. Basically charged $500 to $600 for a Blu-ray player, and then they just expected everyone was just going to buy it because they were that arrogant. And you know, everybody knows, like, it almost sunk Sony. The PS3 cost them like over $3 billion. They almost didn't survive. If the PS4 wasn't such a grand slam home run, who knows what state Sony would be in right now, right? And I just see them making the exact same mistakes over and over and over. It's not like they can't even. It's not like they have to learn from other people's mistakes. They can't even learn from their own. And on top of that, like, I made a video about this earlier today, actually, so it's fitting that we're talking about it. I kind of made like a tongue-in-cheek argument that 5 years down the road, Sony botches the PS5 because they're so arrogant. Nintendo and Xbox are doing well. Microsoft is gonna be like $1 trillion company by 2020, 2021. What's to stop Microsoft from just buying Sony Entertainment or just becoming a majority stakeholder for pennies on the dollar? But more importantly, I love Nintendo because N64 classic, baby, and we're gonna have all of our rareware titles on it.
I don't know. Like, we'll see about that. But like, I definitely think Xbox is definitely poised to they know where the future is coming, and I think like they're going to be prepared when Google releases their cloud console and everything like that. Like, I think that's where it's going, is cheap consoles with who want to lock everybody down into their own ecosystem and everything like that. I think that's where we're going here, and I think Sony is going to be left behind if they think that they're just going to release the same iteration of PlayStation 4.
I want to touch on what Chip said. Chips, there's no exact numbers, but here to give you an idea of how many PC players there actually are. If one person, let's just put it to you this way. if let's just say everyone here has Switch, right? I'm gonna do this for everyone. Matter of fact, no, let's say everyone here has PS4, Fortnite on the Switch, right? I play on PC, right? Every time we will play, we automatically get matched up with people who have the PC game. So we'll go against a team of people who have PC. That's to tell you how many people have it. So if one person has a PC game, then you're put into the mat with mostly other PC players. Because there is such a domineering amount of people. If you go to forums, and honestly, it's not about preference. It's not a matter of preference at this point. If you go to forums and everything, it has been downvoted, upvoted so many different times on how even a mouse and keyboard on the PS4 versus the actual computer does not compare. You want to talk about preference, not ask about preference, ask about numbers. The most preferred is the most used. You ask the most used. The most used is the most preferred. So you're asking the same thing. So when you ask about the most preferred, the most used, you're going to get the most preferred argument. And it is going to be on the PC. The PC, hands down, without a contest, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see this, runs the smoothest. And most gamers, most PC gamers have played this. Most people who have played this are playing this because nothing beats a mouse and keyboard.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to pick up Crash Bandicoot on Steam.
Chips, calm down. Chips, calm down. No, calm down, because you don't play Fortnite. I do. You don't play Fortnite. I
do. Hit him with that fire, bro.
Plus, I just Googled it.
No,
I just Googled it.
It does matter.
There's 70 million PS4s out there, and I just Googled it. There's an estimated 2 billion PCs. So I think the consumer has spoken.
Yo, hey, real talk though, I do know that I know for a fact that there are a lot of new Fortnite people out there on Switch and PC especially. I know multiple people from my church who have Surface Pros that have Fortnite on their Surface Pros, and they play Fortnite on their Surface Pros. So I know.
See, and Chips is trying to play the strawman argument, trying to white knight for PlayStation, man. Get out of here. Stop trying to white knight for your trash console.
Ooh, my goodness. Abaddon's on fire tonight. Oh my gosh, man. That is.
Don't try to white knight for your console, because you definitely are. You are seriously going to sit here and say a game that's on a PC, a game that's available on PC, has more users on a console? That's like me saying there's more Overwatch users on console than there's on PC. Come on, dog.
Chat. It's not that we get likes, my man.
Grumpy Monkey said, "Screw PC and PS4. I prefer in television."
Oh man, it's coming back.
My dad's.
I say that we're gonna go ahead and wrap up that topic, and with that said, that'll wrap up the podcast. This podcast was fun. Tonight was a lot of fun. Oh man, the topics were good. The guests were good. The guests were on fire. Switchcraft, man, I'm glad to have you back on. Like I said, the last time you were on, we had good vibes. I had to get you back on, man, and you were spot on once again, man. Let the people know.
Anytime.
Let the people know, you know where they can find you, your Twitter, all that good stuff. I did a terrible job at not linking anybody's stuff in the descriptions. That's my bad. I will add that later, and I'll go ahead and put your channel in the chat so people can check you out. But let them know what you're doing.
I've been putting it in the chat for you guys. I've been putting it throughout the I've been putting it in the chat for people for you, man. I had you backed up.
All right, so cool. Go ahead and let the people know what you're doing, bro.
So I'm Switchcraft. You guys, my friends call me Steven, and I started my YouTube channel as a New Year's resolution because I've never really been a creative guy, and so this was a creative outlet that was going to combine what I love, which is video games, especially my Nintendo Switch, and doing something like this that I never thought I'd do on YouTube. And what my channel has kind of morphed into is more recently a whole bunch of rants on pretty much anything that I find amusing in the gaming industry, and a whole lot of first impressions. And what I'm also going to start doing now is I'm going to continue doing is a bunch of reviews after playing 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 hours of a game, because I mean, for reviews you can find way better people to give you them the day before. So that's me, and hopefully you all like it, and thanks very, very much, Nicktendo Direct, for having me on again. Anytime you like, I'm here.
100%, man. Like I said, I had to have you back on Avedon. Let the people know what you're doing, man. I mean, you've been on here every week, so let them know what you're doing next week. What plans you have?
First of all, before I get started, my apologies to Chips. If I came at you a certain way, my apologies to you. On that public. No, seriously, I'm like seriously, I'm a person like I am not full of pride at all. So if I came at you a certain way, my apologies. While everyone is here, before I get it, that's number one. Number two, I've been working on a soundtrack review because I've been trying to change up my rubric on my channel, see how I'm going to do things. You know, hitting that 1,000 soon. So I just said I want to crank it up a little bit. I like doing reactions, but I like doing my gaming opinions. I like doing a whole bunch of other things. So I have a video talking about the purpose of indie games. I have a video coming out with a soundtrack review coming out this week as well, and possibly more reactions. I'm going to do some more of the Overwatch reactions too for you guys. So we've got quite a bit of content, and I also live stream almost every day now. Live streaming tonight too, playing Octopath. So stay tuned for that.
All right. And last but not least, for first time here, the homie Super Nicktendo, bro. Thank you so much for stopping by, bro. And honestly, no BS. It was a good time. It was great having you on. It was solid. It was awesome. I do appreciate you for stopping by, bro. Let the people know what you're doing, what the channel's all about, all that good stuff, and where they can find you.
All right. Well, you can find me on Twitter at Snicktendo, SNICK. I don't remember Nicktendo, but yeah. And then youtube.com/Super Nicktendo. Basically, what I do is, in addition to talking about retro games, I also talk about like price trends and you know, with retro video games. So if you ever wanted to know how Metal Jesus Rocks affects retro video game prices, that was my #1 video. That's the one who like pushed me to the edge of the you know, 1,000 subscribers. And you know, I just recently came out with a collectability forecast for the Sega Saturn. So like, you know, I review prices to see if they're going to go up, down, or stay the same. So that's something that I'll be doing more of now that I figure out how to mine the data that I needed. And so this week I'll have like 3 games that I didn't grow up with Nefarious West. And then, you know, the next month should be October. I'm planning something pretty neat, a little bit different and stuff like that. We'll see where that goes. So I can't really speak too much onto it, but it'll be a neat little creative project, you know, for the October month there.
100%. Like I said, bro, appreciate you for coming by, man. Got to do it again. Got to have you back on.
Yeah,
it was
definitely
great. It was great. 100%. You guys know who it is. Nicktendo Direct. You're here. You're on the channel. You know what it's all about. You know this, the podcast on Sundays and the content, the streams, all that good stuff. And like I said, I appreciate every single one of you guys in the chat. Your player too. What's going on, dude? Appreciate you for stopping by. Otero Studios. You too as well. Ed Norton, the regular as always. Stitch, Chips, Lopez. Everybody, my homie Andy Entertaining Gaming. I appreciate you all. Saltiest Gaming. There's just a lot of people in here. I can't name you all, but appreciate you all for stopping by. It was a great time. So next week, next Sunday, you already know we're gonna keep this thing on Sundays, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central. You know the deal. So we'll see you guys later.
Peace.
See you later.
Yep.